Stage lights dimmed as the crowd inside the America's Got Talent arena waited in anticipation for the next contestant. The judges shuffled their papers casually, expecting another ordinary performance among thousands of dreamers who had stood on that stage before. But no one in the room was prepared for what was about to happen. The announcer's voice echoed through the theater. Please welcome from the Philippines, Sergeant Miguel Reyes. A tall Filipino soldier walked onto the stage wearing a crisp military uniform. His posture was disciplined, his expression calm, yet his eyes carried a quiet intensity that immediately caught the audience's attention. The theater erupted into applause as he saluted respectfully before stepping toward the microphone. Simon Cowell leaned forward curiously. "You're a soldier?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Miguel replied with humility. "I have served in the Philippine Army for 11 years. The audience applauded again, this time louder. "How did you end up here on AGT?" Sofia Vergara asked with a warm smile. Miguel took a deep breath before answering. "During difficult times in the military, singing became my escape. My fellow soldiers encouraged me to follow my dream. I am here tonight not just for myself, but for every Filipino who sacrifices far away from home." The sincerity in his voice silenced the room. He explained how he had spent years stationed in dangerous areas, away from his family for months at a time. Music was the one thing that gave him hope during lonely nights. Sometimes, after exhausting missions, he would sing quietly for his fellow soldiers to lift their spirits. "What will you be singing tonight?" Heidi Klum asked. Miguel smiled proudly. "I will sing Lupang Hinirang, the national anthem of the Philippines." The audience reacted with surprise. Some exchanged curious glances. Singing a national anthem on a competition stage was a bold choice. Simon raised an eyebrow, unsure of what to expect. Miguel closed his eyes for a brief moment as the music began softly in the background. Then he sang. The first note instantly transformed the atmosphere in the theater. His voice was rich, powerful, and deeply emotional. Every lyric carried pride, pain, sacrifice, and love for his homeland. It wasn't just singing, it felt like a soldier pouring his soul into every word. The audience sat frozen. As Miguel continued, the giant screen behind him displayed breathtaking scenes of the Philippines, rolling mountains, crowded cities, peaceful beaches, hardworking citizens, and soldiers protecting the nation. The emotional connection between his performance and his country's story became impossible to ignore. The camera cut to audience members wiping away tears. Even Simon Cowell, known for his tough reactions, looked visibly moved. Miguel's voice soared through the theater with stunning control and raw emotion. When he reached the climax of the anthem, his powerful high note echoed across the entire arena, sending chills through everyone present. For a few seconds after the song ended, complete silence filled the room. Then suddenly, the entire audience exploded into applause. People jumped to their feet cheering wildly. Some waved Philippine flags while others simply clapped with tears in their eyes. The standing ovation seemed endless. Miguel stood motionless on stage, overwhelmed by the reaction. Howie Mandel shook his head in disbelief. "That was unbelievable," he said. "I don't even understand every word, but somehow I felt every emotion." The audience applauded again. Sofia Vergara smiled warmly. "You sang with so much heart. It felt honest and real. That is something very rare." Heidi Klum added, "You have an incredible voice, but more importantly, you made everyone in this room feel connected to your story." Then all eyes turned toward Simon. For a moment, he remained silent. Finally, he leaned closer to the microphone. "You know, when you said you would sing your national anthem, I honestly didn't know how this would go. But what you did tonight was extraordinary." The audience erupted again. Simon continued. "Your voice was powerful, yes. But it was your sincerity that made this unforgettable. You reminded everyone why music matters. It brings people together, no matter where they come from." Miguel's eyes began to fill with tears. Simon smiled slightly. "And I think your country would be very proud of you tonight." At that moment, the crowd stood once more in thunderous applause. Backstage, other contestants watched in amazement. Some were emotional themselves, inspired by Miguel's journey from military service to the AGT stage. As the judges prepared to vote, tension filled the theater. "Howie?" the host asked. "That's an easy yes." "Sophia?" "Absolutely yes." "Heidi?" 1000% yes. The audience cheered loudly. Finally, Simon spoke. "Miguel, you came here as a soldier, but tonight you also became a storyteller, an artist, and an inspiration. It's 4 yes." Miguel covered his face emotionally as confetti exploded lightly around the stage. The crowd continued chanting his name while he saluted proudly with tears streaming down his cheeks. Backstage after the performance, Miguel spoke through emotion. "I never expected this reaction. I only wanted to honor my country and my fellow soldiers." Within hours, videos of his audition spread rapidly across social media. Millions of viewers from around the world praised his emotional performance. Filipinos everywhere shared the clip proudly, calling him a symbol of national pride. Many overseas Filipino workers said his performance reminded them of home. Soldiers from different countries also expressed admiration for his courage and authenticity. News outlets began covering the story of the humble soldier whose voice touched the world. In the Philippines, people gathered in homes, restaurants, and community centers to watch his audition repeatedly. Teachers showed the performance to students as an example of patriotism and perseverance. Miguel's family watched from their small hometown, overwhelmed with pride. His mother cried as neighbors congratulated them. "He never gave up on his dream," she said emotionally during an interview. Even as a child, he always sang with all his heart. Despite his sudden fame, Miguel remained humble. In interviews, he continued emphasizing that the performance was never about becoming famous. "I simply wanted to represent the Filipino spirit," he said. Strong, hopeful, and proud. As the AGT season continued, millions eagerly waited for his next performance. But no matter what happened in the competition, one thing had already become clear. A soldier had walked onto the stage that night carrying not only his own dream, but the pride of an entire nation. And with one unforgettable song, he touched the hearts of the world.